Have you ever felt a phantom vibration in your pocket, reached down to check your messages, and realized your phone isn't even there? Or maybe you've caught yourself staring at a blank wall for 40 minutes, not absorbing a single piece of info while your brain performs a full-scale reenactment of the Punic Wars for absolutely no reason? You might think you're just a little scattered, or that you need a bit more coffee. Cute. What you're actually experiencing is a form of neurological hijacking that would make the CIA's most twisted projects look like a middle school science fair. Your brain isn't just some regular organ that works for you. It's a biological puppet being yanked around by dopamine strings you didn't even know were attached. This neurotransmitter was originally designed to keep your ancestors alive on the savannah, rewarding them for finding food or avoiding a lion, but now it's being used to turn your prefrontal cortex into a shriveled raisin. If you've ever felt like your own mind is an uncooperative roommate who refuses to pay rent, you're in the right place. We are looking at the psychological tricks that started as research and ended up in the territory of definitely going to prison for this. You like to think you're a pretty savvy person, right? A healthy skeptic who wouldn't fall for a Nigerian prince email. But while you're wise to the obvious stuff, you're being taken in by psychological tricks that present the world one way, while the reality is very, very different. You are a lab rat in a maze you didn't even know was built around you. Before we descend into this parade of broken minds and shady government budgets, you should probably hit that like button and subscribe before your attention span decides to go on a spontaneous vacation to another dimension. It truly helps the channel, and it might just keep you from becoming the next digital lab rat. Let's get into it. Reason 5. We're starting with something that feels legal because it's hidden in the fine print you never read. In 2012, Facebook decided to play psychologist and secretly experimented on 700,000 users. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't send a consent form. They just tweaked your newsfeed for funsies to see if they could manipulate your emotions through emotional contagion. Imagine you're scrolling through your feed, looking for a hit of connection. The algorithm looks at you and thinks, nah, let's see if we can make this NPC cry today. Suddenly, your feed is nothing but negative posts and bad news. You start feeling like absolute garbage, and you don't even know why. You think it's just a bad day, but in reality, some guy in a Silicon Valley hoodie is watching your reaction like a scientist watching a rat in a maze. When they got caught, the good people at Facebook just shrugged it off and pointed to the terms of service, showing it was technically allowed. They used that fine print to their full advantage, knowing no one actually reads it before clicking I agree. You were manipulated because you were too lazy to read 100 pages of legalese. Welcome to being a biological puppet. It doesn't stop with your feed. Think you avoided the digital dragnet by never making an account? Cute. Google has a shadow profile on you. Anyway, through Android devices, Chrome browsers, and web trackers, they are creeping on people 24/7. Your friend has you in their contacts on an Android phone? Google's got you. Big Brother is watching, and he's using a minimalist browser to do it. Reason 4. If you think tech companies are creepy, wait until you see the FBI's data mining skills. Between 2005 and 2006, the Bureau decided the best way to find Iranian terrorists was to track who was buying hummus and pita bread at grocery stores. I wish I were kidding. This was literally nicknamed the Falafel Project. Agents used store loyalty cards and commercial databases to map out buying patterns. Their theory? If you bought too much Middle Eastern food in the wrong neighborhood, you were clearly a sleeper cell waiting for orders. Imagine being placed on a federal list because you just really love a good falafel wrap. It's the ultimate ego attack. You think you're being a healthy, conscious consumer, but the government thinks you're a threat to national security because of your dipping preferences. Wait, sir, we found him. Who? The bomb maker? No, the guy who bought 3 containers of roasted garlic hummus. He's definitely up to something. It's absurd. Millions of Americans eat these foods regularly, but to the FBI, your grocery receipt was a potential confession. They weren't just looking for terrorists. They were testing the psychological limits of how much they could track you based on mundane habits. Reason 3. If you think being watched at the store is bad, how about being sprayed with bacteria while you're just minding your business in a city? In 1950, the U.S. Navy decided to turn San Francisco into a giant petri dish. They sent warships to release bacterial aerosols, specifically Serratia marcescens, all over the city to study how a biological attack might spread. They told everyone the aerosols were harmless. Spoiler alert, they weren't. Over several days, they exposed 800,000 people without their consent or knowledge. You know, just your friendly big brother using citizens like lab rats. Shortly after, a mysterious outbreak happened. Patients started flocking to hospitals with rare infections, and one man, Edward Nevin, actually died from complications. The government never even officially admitted the test caused it. It took scientists decades to make the connection. Your friendly Navy essentially conducted a biological hit on its own people just to see what would happen. This is the psychological trick of authority bias. You see a man in a uniform or a government ship, and you assume they aren't spraying you with death. But throughout history, from the first blood transfusions using lamb's blood to this, the experts have been guessing while you pay the price. It's getting dark, isn't it? If you're starting to question everything you've ever been told by an official-looking person in a uniform, leave a comment with the word control below. It lets me know you're still awake and not just another cyborg kitten in their system. Reason 2. We can't talk about illegal psychological tricks without bringing up the goat of conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be 100% real, MKUltra. This was the CIA's massive attempt at mind control during the Cold War. They weren't just looking for suggestibility. They were looking for ways to completely break a human being and rebuild them as a programmable asset. They used heroin, meth, morphine, and their personal favorite LSD. They gave these drugs to college students, professors, hospital patients, and prisoners. Some were told they were helping with mental health research. Others weren't told anything at all. They just woke up in a sensory deprivation tank or an isolation room, being screamed at by researchers who were also in the dark about the true nature of the experiment. It got so bad that the researchers apparently got bored of testing normal citizens and started giving LSD to other members of the CIA without their knowledge or consent. Imagine showing up to your government job, grabbing a coffee, and 10 minutes later, the office walls start melting because your coworker thought it would be a funny experiment. It was an unauthorized illegal flight into the heart of madness. When news of MKUltra became public in the 70s, it led to widespread anger and congressional action, but the damage was done. They'd already spent decades turning people's brains into mush. Reason 1. The absolute peak of what the actual hell were they thinking has to be Operation Midnight Climax. As part of the MKUltra program, the CIA decided to run secret brothels in San Francisco and New York. I am dead serious. That is its actual name. They hired prostitutes to lure random men back to these safe houses that were fully rigged with one-way mirrors and recording equipment. The men thought they were just paying for a good time. Instead, the CIA spiked their drinks with LSD and watched the action from behind the glass to study how the drug could be used for interrogation and mind control. These weren't enemy agents or criminals. They were just regular dudes who ended up being used by the government for a decade-long drug trip. No one was prosecuted for this. They just shut it down after the church committee hearings and hoped everyone would forget. I have to wonder how those victims feel after going through all that. But even with all this advanced psychological warfare, the government's track record for actually winning with these tricks is hilariously bad. The most unbelievable part isn't just that it happened, it's the sheer failure rate. Take the Acoustic Kitty Project. During the Cold War, the CIA wanted to turn cats into mobile surveillance devices. They performed an hour-long surgery to turn a cat into a cyborg, planting a microphone in its ear canal, a transmitter near the base of the skull, and a thin wire through its fur. They trained this cyborg kitten for months. It was finally go time. They released the cat in Washington, D.C. to eavesdrop on 2 men on a park bench. It took exactly 15 seconds for the cat to walk across the street and get hit by a taxi. $20 million down the toilet in 15 seconds because they forgot that cats don't care about the Cold War. They care about not getting run over. It's the ultimate victory for the naughty troublemakers of history. All these high-tech illegal psychological tricks, and the government still got outplayed by a stray cat and a yellow cab. It proves that no matter how hard they try to pull the strings, the biological puppet usually finds a way to break them, even if it's by accident. Now, why does any of this matter to you sitting there with your smartphone? Because these tricks didn't vanish. They just got industrialized. We live in an era of post-authenticity where your feed is a constant test of your emotional state, designed to keep you in a high-signal loop of consumption. The same techniques used in MKUltra